So dated security. What is the dated security? So first of all, I'm here discussing the dated securities. Okay. So this dated securities are the G security, and which is tradable instrument issued by the central government. And it is issued by the central government, and it is tradable. It can be traded in the market. So this is 6.5 trillion, and that is 6.5 trillion. Ongoing 5.69% fiscal, presently fiscal deficit. Deficit is 5.9% of the GDP, and this dated security 6.5 trillion. So generally tenor of the dated security is a 5 year to 40 years is a tenor, and there's a some security G security. So first is a T bill, that is treasury bill. So T bill is 91 days and 182 days and 364 days generally. It is issued by the central government, and it is term of the debt instrument. It is a debt instrument. And next is the maturity of the 91 days, that is cash management bill, and that is 91 days. Cash management bill, that is 91 days. And state development loans are also there. State development loans, and these loans are also similar to the G security. Okay. So mechanism of G security, that is auctioning by the RBI. So RBI auction the dated securities. Okay, dated securities. And there's a e-kuber. You can see about the e-kuber. You can find there the securities. Okay. So RBI electronic platform, that is known as the e-security, and it is auctioning of the RBI with the e-kuber. Okay. So participation of the commercial bank, scheduled urban cooperative bank, primary dealers, insurance companies, and the providing fund to maintain the fund account. Ecober is a take part of the auctioning, and now foreign portfolio investment. It is a G security market. So FPI is also participating in the G security market. Okay, government security market, and this is done with the quantitative, like scheduled bank and the primary dealers, and specific stock exchanges are also there. RBI conduct the open market operations. It is a instrument of the open market operation. It is a monetary instrument of the RBI. Okay, in this instrument, RBI are seeing first the market risk. What is the market risk? Okay, and secondly, reinvestment risk. What is the investment risk? And third one is the liquidity risk. Liquidity risk. So three type of risks are there, and RBI just see three type of the risk, and RBI are adjusting the rupee liquidity conditions from the market. So RBI will adjust the rupee liquidity conditions in the markets. Okay, so there's a bond yield. You know about the bond yield. So this bond yield is a RBI is taking the open market operations, so that sale of the government security. It is the selling the government securities. Okay, selling the government securities and return the investor to over the period. So the yield is also commonly referred to interest rate or the cost of borrowing. So this is cost of borrowing, or the interest rate, or the interest rate. So at which interest rate or the cost of borrowing government securities are purchased from the market, that is known as the bond yield, and that is cost of borrowing to issuers. Yield of the bond is inversely related to the price. So price is inversely related to the bond yield. Yield and the price both are inversely proportion to each other. Okay, when the price is falls, the bond yield will rise. Like if price is falling, share price is falling, that means your bond yield is increasing. Okay, and bond yield is the government giving borrowings, and that interest rate is also taking from the government for the borrowings in the market, and that is the bond yield. So bond yield is the open market operation, sale of the government securities, and a spike in the bond yield to their highest level triggered the spike. If there's a sale of security, that means a spike in the bond yield is also there in the market, and that is bond yield is the return an investor expect to receive each year over its term to maturity. Now each year there is a maturity in the term, and that is related to the bond yield. Okay, so what returns is getting the investor from the year by year basis, that is count the bond yield, and the yield is also commonly referred the interest rate or the cost of borrowing. So it is a interest rate. It is a interest rate or the cost of borrowing. Cost of borrowing. It is included in the bond yield, and that is inversely related to the price of the commodity. That is inversely related to the price of the commodity. Now, what is goods and service tax? Okay, goods and service tax. So this is 28% initially for the each of the place. Like there's a tax base like 5%, 12%, 18%, 28 for the luxury goods. GST is 28% on the gaming and horse riding and the luxury items of them. Now TDS is 30% deducted from the winning both games types, and the tax on the offshore online gaming is also there. So game of this skill, expertise, practice, experience, all that count in that. Single domestic indirect tax system. So GST is a single domestic, and this is an indirect tax system. Indirect tax system. This is an indirect tax system, and this is presently 28% for the luxury goods. And 1 July, like 101 Constitutional Amendment Act, and 1 July in 2017, it is started from. Idea of the nationwide GST proposed by the Calcal Task Force. Calcal Task Force was there, and the idea of the GST comes from the Calcal Task Force. And now this based on the performance of the management on central board and indirect and the direct tax. So GST structure is collected by the central government. It is collected by the central government. Okay, and GST is collected by the state government, which is interstate GST. State government like interstate GST. So integrated GST is also there. Integrated based on the state and the center. Okay. So IGST establishing the single national market. Why GST is using? So establishing the single single national market, and complicated taxation regime. So reduce the taxation complication in the taxation complication will be reduced. A need for the technology, and we needed some technologies also, and ease of doing business. So it will facilitate the ease of doing business, and also high cost of tax collection. So it will reduce the high cost of the tax collection. So that's why we adopted the integrated system, that is a GST network, and there's a IT backbone of the GST network. It is a non-profit NGO, non-profit organization, that is a GST network. Okay, and that is under the government company, and 100% at the shareholding of the government. Convergence. GST Appellate Tribunal, and there was a central GST Act. It is a statutory GST Appellate Tribunal, and that is in 2017 Act. It was established, and there was the Central Goods and Service Tax Act 2023 also, and advocated with at least 10-year experiences, and judicial member will also be there. Appoint as a judicial member, 10-year experiences related to advocacy, and minimum age is 50 year and maximum is 70 year. GST council is also there, so established under the article 279 and a, that is GST council, and the chairperson is the finance minister, and members are union minister of the state in charge of the revenue, minister of the charge of finance, and 3/4 majority of the members present and voting is required for the decision making के लिए 3/4 of the present and voting is required. Okay, and decision on the various aspect of GST, including tax rate and revenue sharing and all that. Now, next question is related to the widening of the tax base. Widening of the tax base. So why tax base is widening presently? So first is close seedling of the PAN with bank account. So PAN, bank account, and Aadhaar. So the seedling of the close seeding between all of three. This is improving the appliance of the uh, common public. Introduction of the TDS, new TDS. So new TDS, that is 35 to 65 codes are there for the transaction. Introduction of the new data source. So data sources are also included. New TDS, new data source, and text to GDP ratio, that is also reduced. So text to GDP ratio about 11%, 11% are over direct taxes, and indirect taxes are over 5.1%. Okay, so this is 11% and this is 5.1%. And useful measures are also taken by the capacity generate the tax revenue. Decrease tax to GDP, slowing the economical growth. If tax to GDP will decrease, it will slow the economic growth. It will slow the economic growth. Okay, so that's why net direct taxes are 121%. Direct taxes are increases the 1.1%, and direct tax to GDP ratio, that is 5.62%. This is a direct tax to GDP ratio. GDP ratio. Okay, and direct tax buoyancy, that is 2.1.5%. Presence of the large informal sector, so that's why we have a difficulty in the tax collection. What kind of the measures are taken? So first, presents large number of the informal sectors. So informal sectors, they very bad for the tax collection. Tax exemption in the agriculture. So agricultural products are not providing us any tax. High incidence of litigation. So litigation and evasion is also there, and lack of technical expertise. So these are the problems of the tax collection. So presently we have the direct taxes, which is 5.62% or to 5.97% is direct tax to GDP ratio. And presently we are collecting the direct taxes, which is 11%, and indirect taxes, which is about 5 point. So direct taxes is a 6% and indirect taxes 5.1, and total tax collection is 11.1%. Okay, so this was a issue. That direct is 6%, indirect 5.1%, and total is 11.1%. And now next question is related to what is the angel tax. What is the angel tax? Okay, so angel tax is a Ministry of Finance, and that is proposing the notified foreign entity which will be exempted. So entities are exempted from the tax collection, exempted from the tax. Okay, tax provision. So this angel tax is come into the 2012, and that is tax levies on the capital raised by the unlisted company. So what kind of unlisted companies are in the India? So now they are levying tax over that companies, unlisted companies. So it will raise the capital and tax collection. That's why to deter the generation and use of the unaccounted money. So we are now projecting the unaccounted money should be useful. That's why we are using angel tax as a tax levied on the capital raised by the unlisted company. So unlisted company will also be taxed with the angel tax. Next one is uh, official statistics are there, like Ministry of Statistical and Program Implementation. It is a national policy on official statistics. National policy on official statistics. This is providing United Nations fundamental principle official statistics. So creation of the integrated data system, innovation hub, core official statistics. Ministry of Statistical is a nodal agency for the integrated development of the statistical system. And now, it is mandatory to collect the disseminate the data and confirming the prescribed definitions and updated periodically. This why the official statistics was come. Now, next question will be related to the labor, employment, and skill development periodic labor force survey. So, I will discuss in next